there's going to be new UFO hearings on Capitol Hill next week. Next Wednesday, Kirsten Gillibrand is going to lead a new hearing, and Sean Kirkpatrick himself, the director of AARO, is going to testify. This is huge. Let's talk about it. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and of course, let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, so we had our hearings a few months ago with Bray and Moultrie, where they did nothing but lie. Everything they said was a lie or an obfuscation. They even hadn't bothered to look at what evidence there was that they should have had access to. For example, the Admiral Wilson Eric Davis memo, which had to be entered into the record by a congressperson to even get that entered in, because they had not bothered to do that. It is more likely that they had not allowed themselves to be briefed on the subject so that they would not have to answer questions about it. And they lied about the pyramid UFO, the floating, flying pyramid things that were over the battle carrier, etc. And, they had to contradict their chief scientist, Travis Taylor, to even arrive at that conclusion. So it was nothing but lies. The whole thing, what little they did say was a lie. And Sean Kirkpatrick seems to have been cut from the same cloth. He seems to be an ally of Bray and Moultrie. So I don't expect anything major from him. I'm hoping that there is a possibility that he can, turn a new leaf and start being open and honest with the American public. I am highly doubtful that will happen because he has only done two things so far as the director of AARO, and that's to release the U.A.P. report, which again was nothing but lies and obfuscation. There were only 3 items on the U.A.P. report. That there were no collisions, and there are. There's no health effects, and there are. Of course, there are. And the third item was the numbers. How many sightings there were, and how many of those could be explained. And we know from George Knapp that they actually fudged those numbers to include a bunch of already explained sightings, so that they could say that there were more explained sightings than unexplained sightings. So that was deliberately done. So again, a lie. So the only 3 items on the UAP report, and every single item was a lie. The only other thing that he has done, Sean Kirkpatrick, was co-write a scientific paper with Avi Loeb about the UFO phenomenon, in which the paper proposed that we have to look through the lens of conventional physics to understand the UFO phenomenon. Now, clearly these things are operating beyond what we know as far as conventional physics. So it appears that paper was simply an effort by Sean Kirkpatrick to use Avi Loeb to slow down the study of UFOs. So, yeah, a lot of people got excited about his mothership comment, but if you actually read the paper and see what the mothership comment was about, he was saying that everything can be explained by a mothership releasing some drones. Well, clearly that does not explain everything, and that was simply another lie or a piece of disinformation to put out there. So anyway, I don't know if Sean Kirkpatrick can turn a new page and start being open and honest after all of that. So I don't have a lot of hope for this upcoming meeting, this hearing, if he is going to be the only person to speak. However, I'm hopeful that there will be other people speaking, and let's see if we can get some more information about this. But just, why we should be doubtful about Sean Kirkpatrick? Well, AARO has only released 2 tweets. And as Claw says, and they lied. Yeah, here's the Welcome to the official Twitter account. That's all Arrow has done. As we grow the office, begin building upon the previous Department of Defense efforts, and communicate with Congress, we will provide updates on our progress here, which they have not done. This is an exciting and intellectually stimulating opportunity for us at Arrow. So those are the only 2 tweets that Sean Kirkpatrick, director of Arrow, has put out. So they haven't put out any information. And they have lied about what information they have put out. Let's see what other information there is. This is okay, here we go. Open close to receive testimony on the mission, activities, oversight, and budget of the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. Yeah, Sean Kirkpatrick, Director, All Domain Resolution Office. And oh yeah, check back for the video of the hearing. Just looking around. So yeah, the time is going to be 10:30 on next Wednesday. So let's see. There was one other item. Here we go. No thanks. Yeah. So this is from the Washington Examiner, an editorial by Tom Rogan. Next week's Senate UFO hearing should focus on government research, not Skinwalker Ranch. Well, I may disagree on that, but let's see what this article has to say. The Roswell Daily Record reports, and the Washington Examiner has confirmed that a Senate Armed Services Committee subcommittee will hold a public hearing next Wednesday on the topic of unidentified flying objects, or what the government refers to as U.A.P. Led by Kirsten Gillibrand, the hearing is likely to center on testimony from Sean Kirkpatrick, head of Arrow. Arrow was established following congressional action to improve reporting and analysis on UFOs. I think it important that those involved in next week's hearing attempt to balance 2 imperatives, namely navigating intractable bureaucratic realities and focusing on key national security interests. And this is, again, an editorial by Tom Rogan. The intractable bureaucratic reality here is that many in the government and military, including those with remits attached to a UFO-related research, are loath to engage with this issue. Their rationale does not reflect a grand conspiracy, but rather 2 other factors. First, their interest in instead focusing on conventional threats such as those posed by China and Russia. Second, their discomfort with an issue that involves political discomfort, unconventional mystery, complex data, and stigma. Even if they dislike this reality, members of Congress must accept it as they ask questions of Kirkpatrick and others. And I'm reading this to see what people are saying about the hearing and to give my thoughts on it. It's early days yet. This is breaking news. So I'm looking forward to gathering more information and more insight into what other people are thinking. To continue, Tom Rogan says, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely fine, for example, to write reviews of documentaries that look at strange topics such as those UFOs that seem to appear near schools. It's fine that noted UFO opinion journalists such as George Knapp consider the UFO subject alongside reported phenomena at Utah's Skinwalker Ranch. It's also fine for TV shows such as the History Channel's Secret of Skinwalker Ranch to provide entertainment. But a congressional focus on these expanded issues, at least at this point, will bleed credibility and resources away from effective scrutiny of the exigent UFO issues. It will also only empower those who may have some interest in concealing pertinent information from the public. Congress should thus focus on the preeminent national security interests related to UFOs. I believe these are twofold. First, efficiently categorizing UFOs that don't have a conventional explanation. The second, national security interest rests in identifying the origin, capability, and intent of a truly extraordinary but far smaller subset of UFOs. Anyway, I'm not going to read the whole article, but I'll link to it and you can read it if you want. But basically, he's saying that they shouldn't focus on the weird stuff. They should only focus on the conventional stuff at this hearing. And, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. We can get to the weird stuff later once we acknowledge the non-weird stuff, non-weird, as non-weird as UFOs can be. But, the mainstream UFO idea, if Sean Kirkpatrick can at least be open and honest about that. Now, people like Gary Nolan have said that the reason they don't want disclosure is because it goes to the woo-woo very quickly. And so, and I think there's probably a lot of truth to that. So if you do open that can of worms, it leads to that very quickly. But you can, and I think that they are setting things up for a kind of indirect disclosure where they're just doing some nuts and bolts stuff. They seem to be allowing Congress people access to some information and possibly even labs. James Fox was talking about how if they had the right credentials, people could be taken to the labs where they are reverse engineering UFOs. I don't know if the people in Congress have the right credentials to do that. They may have to be in some military program or something to actually get access to that, but they may have access to that. Who knows? But people like Tim Burchett and Matt Gaetz have been talking about information they have been shown about military encounters with UFOs, reverse engineering, intercepting UFOs, and these are sitting Congress people talking about this stuff. So they are allowing Congress access to some information behind the scenes, and they are allowing the Congress people to talk about at least some of it. So that seems to be an indirect form of disclosure that is going on right now. And I think that is kind of the narrative that I've talked about before. That is what they're going to do with disclosure. And I've talked about this several times, how I view the likely avenue for disclosure for an official disclosure. We're going to get more information from people like Lou and Chris Mellon and people like that will talk a little bit more about outside the box subjects. But the government, my take on it is that they're going to admit to, having knowledge of ships and recovering some ships and reverse engineering them or tinkering with them, maybe even getting some stuff to fly. Because that's the sort of thing that they admitted to Harry Reid and Admiral Tom Wilson. That's as far as they would go. I mean, they wouldn't go any further. I mean, they said there were no alien abductions, there were no bodies, nothing like that. So I think that's the tack they took with those guys, and that's likely to be the tack they're going to take with Congress and the American people. And they're going to use Congress to filter to get this information out kind of indirectly. And they're going to, soft sell, the whole UFO thing. But, ideally, this will be a process that will unfold over a few years, and we will get a little bit more every time. I don't know how far they're going to go, but I do see that as the likely route they're going to take. They're going to use, Congress people to filter this information to the American public, and it's just going to be the bare bones. Yeah, we've got some ships, and we're tinkering with them. Who knows who flew these things, where they came from. We don't know anything about any of these ships, or, we're not saying it's aliens, but it's not ours. And we've been tinkering with them and getting potentially some of them to work. So I think that's the route they're going to take. I don't know where they're going to go from there. Maybe in a few years, they'll let some Congress people learn about some bodies being stored somewhere. And they'll say, oh, yeah, well, finally we got the right paperwork or whatever. And now we have knowledge of these bodies. They were stored in some container or some storage room for decades, and we didn't even know about them. Oh, but we've got them now. And, now we're letting some Congress people know about them. Maybe it will go that far in a few years. And then a few years later, maybe they'll admit to some actual contact with some beings. Maybe they'll admit to the existence of alien abductions. I don't know if they will or not, because how do you address that? Where do you go from there? How do you reassure the public that they're safe, and also tell them that there's alien abductions? So, that's they've been keeping this stuff secret for a long time for a reason, because it is hard to get out there. And, who knows how deep that rabbit hole goes. I think it goes pretty deep, judging by the research I've done. But anyway, I think that's the general outline of where I see things going. And I don't expect anything major to come from the hearing. We'll see what Sean Kirkpatrick says. But to judge from the 2 tweets that he's put out and the disinformation that he has put out, I'm not seeing a whole lot of hope from that quarter. So let's see if other people are testifying and what they have to say, and how much of this is going to be an open hearing versus how much of it is going to be a closed hearing. There will be an open hearing. That's what they're saying. But there will probably also be a classified hearing as well, where the juicy stuff will be discussed. So time will tell. We're going to hear about it next Wednesday. Let me know what you guys think. What are we going to get out of this hearing? Who else is going to testify? And I'm sure there will be updates, throughout the day and tomorrow. Maybe we'll find out some more people that are being able to testify. And if you've already seen that information, please let me know. And anyway, so let me know your thoughts. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And please smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. Join me on social media. Facebook and Twitter links are below. Love to see you guys there. And if you would share this video on social media, that'd be super helpful. And yeah, check out some of my other videos when you get a chance. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.